Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me here today for this sharing. I would like to talk about why Thai yoga massage matters. Now, I could have called this the benefits of Thai yoga massage. Whenever I hear or see that word, the benefits of, it kind of makes me feel a little, because there is a sort of implied black and white promise that I'm not sure we should ever make in this context. So, although, I guess you could say there are benefits, but it's such an individual process. So I wanted to speak to a little bit more than that. And so that's why I thought, why do we do this work? Why does it matter? And I've just come back from doing 3 days, like a little mini course with a small, actually invited group of people, past students of mine, with the aim to actually develop eventually a whole new training on pain, chronic conditions, and trauma. So we were kind of testing materials, or I was testing materials on them, the kind of structure of the course, the context of it, what might work, what to kind of put in, and what I might teach in that training. So it was great to have like a group of people to basically explore this material with, and the ideas and the principles, because that was really more what that was about, the principles and the ideas behind it. And yes, it will be a more advanced training, and yes, we would do quite a few specific techniques, etc. But something that really stood out to me over the 3 days was that we spoke so much about why Thai massage, just in its nature, is so powerful in that context of pain and trauma, but really, it kind of just applies to everything, every day, every person. So to me, or what I'm observing a lot, is that the root cause, and we also know this by now, the root cause to many issues that people are suffering from is some form of dysregulation in the central nervous system. And that might have been dysregulated through challenges or maybe a traumatic experience in their life, or, I don't know. And we also know by now that chronic pain, for example, has to do with a kind of in a very simplified way said, kind of like an error in the system in your brain that perceives and understands pain. So it's neurological as well, and the underlying condition of most chronic conditions also has to do with the nervous system. So in my mind, healing or supporting people in their healing process means the following, and it is what we do in Thai massage. So it's one thing is to do with sensory input, offering people a different felt experience of a movement, or of touch, or of pressure, or of their body as a whole. Because as part of the dysregulation, there is a kind of experience stored with a story in the body that is either triggering a trauma response or pain response. And so because we work with touch, we work with movements, with stretches, with rocking, we can bring in the elements of fire, water, air. We can bring in all sorts of different things into that sensory input that we're giving to the person. We are able to in a way, remap the body, its felt experiences, the sensations. We can remap movement patterns on the nervous system, on the brain. And we can also help to relate to relationship to the earth and to the space around you and your environment through that, because we're also working with proprioception as well as with interoception. So, and because of the unique combination of it's not just touch and needing muscles and possibly even causing more pain, the type of touch and pressure that we use in Thai massage is quite different. We have so much movement in this work, which makes Thai massage quite different and unique. It's not the only modality that does that, but I find that, so in its nature of what Thai massage does, we're speaking a lot to already all of these things that are really important in the healing process. Then we really have an opportunity to restore and to kind of foster a sense of the hara, your kind of innermost kind of center of gravity, your connection to the earth, which is all to do with your right of belonging on this earth, in this life form, in this current life, which has probably been highly disturbed through whatever adverse experience that might have led to the conditions. So it's also that place where we connect to the earth and draw that kind of earth strength from, and that innate inner strength that we might talk about, that has nothing to do with the muscle power, but that kind of strength that moves us forwards. And I find really, really important for healing process, because it's also where we have the reserve that we can draw from when it really matters, and when we need to dig really deep, we want to have a strong hara. And with Thai massage, because it also includes an abdominal massage, which is again something quite different compared to most other massage forms, we can really nurture that. We can make a deposit into that kind of hara bank account. Then we are also able to improve the craniosacral system a little bit. And whether you have craniosacral techniques already available, or really just working with your foundation Thai massage material, so it doesn't need to draw on any special different extra techniques, but we have ways of freeing up the sacrum, to free up the pelvis, to free up the back, to let the spine be moved, to vitalize the spine. And we also have techniques to free up here, the suboccipital area. So with all of those techniques that we already have right from the foundation level, we are able to improve the craniosacral rhythms and the craniosacral system, the flow of the cerebral spinal fluid. And that is all to do with nourishing the central nervous system. So really important. And quite often the craniosacral system is in a way like disrupted when it is under a lot of stress. There can be so much tension along the held in the pelvis, along the spine and in the neck, which is very often from emotional stress and anxiety. And so restoring these craniosacral rhythms, that natural flow, so important. And we can do that because, again, of the movement and the special techniques that we have that are just a bit different, again, to kind of just the sort of digging into muscle and tissues. Another aspect to me really important as part of the healing process is, and it's also to do with that emotional stress and anxiety tension that we hold. So we have an opportunity to free up the diaphragmatic pressure system. So we've got quite a few techniques that, we really free up the rib cage, we free up the whole upper body and the chest, and we free up the diaphragm, being, I say, one main aspect of the diaphragmatic pressure system. There's more to that. We have different membranes, but we also free up the pelvis and maybe some tension in the pelvic floor, at least. And that allows for a full expression and resonance of all of those rhythms, including the craniosacral rhythms, but also the circulatory rhythms, the breathing rhythm, all of our rhythms to be expressed more fully. Because think about it, there are rhythms that are in some way expressing as an expansion and a retraction, a kind of going out and recoiling, a flaring out and a flaring back in, a flexion and extension. And we are a closed pressure container in some way. You know, we've kind of been surrounded by our skin, and inside there is a certain pressure because we are obviously made mostly of fluids. And so if we are holding quite a lot of tension in these diaphragms that regulate the pressure system, which is what the diaphragm and the pelvic floor and other membranes are in charge of, then all of these rhythms, all of this expansion and retraction can't really fully resonate out and ripple out and express itself fully into every part of the body, because they should be going right to the tips of the fingers, right to the tips of the toes, right to the tips of your hair. And when we're not in resonance, then we are going to struggle to be in resonance, even with the world around us, never mind with ourselves. So freeing that up, again, hugely important as part of the regulation that is required, in my mind, as part of the healing process, and something that we can facilitate. And then also hugely important, healing can only really take place from a place of safety. And so I think Thai massage is a really wonderful modality to help restore safety for a number of reasons. Most importantly, because, and this is, you know, what my teachers would just preach and preach and preach and preach to us, because of the sort of main ingredients, I would call them, but really our attitude that we have in Thai massage: presence, attention, intention. We are present, we are here, we are now, we are really leaving our own crap outside. It's a practice of meditation and compassion, and we show up for it. We show up entirely and wholly. We apply a very clear attention focus on the person in front of us, bringing them into our awareness and holding space for them. And our intentions are clear. There's absolute clarity and there's no ambiguity. We are not there to fix anyone or anything. We are just there to hold space for them. And we come into the connection, into the treatment, into this practice with that attitude, with that approach. So by its nature, it creates a safe space. And that is really, really important. In addition, there are other aspects of it. So Thai massage happens fully clothed. So maybe people find that that they're a bit more comfortable that way, you know, and there's no kind of oil and sliding along the skin and all of that. It's not so exposing. And yes, we get quite close up, but it's, you know, it's still closed and there is movement, there is things happening. In a way, you could almost make it a little bit more fun, because there are also these big stretches or some kind of bigger poses that people might go, oh, that's kind of great. It's not so still, it's not so quiet, because actually often people who are quite dysregulated in their nervous system, they will struggle with the quiet. They will struggle with this complete stillness. And yes, it's in a way where we want to bring people towards, but we also have to meet them where they're at. And because Thai massage has so much movement and so much stuff going on, with kind of a flow and creativity and these different qualities of touch, there's quite a lot happening. And I think it lends itself so that we can meet people where they're at. And I think that's really powerful. So I think Thai massage is actually even a great modality to go specifically into maybe certain populations and groups of people who are trauma survivors, who will really struggle with stillness to begin with. It can be I'm not saying, like, in fact, most of my treatments are really asymmetrical and not that structured because they really arise from the moment. But I could also give a treatment that is very structured, that's very symmetrical. So we're giving people order. And that helps them to trust and to understand, this is what's happening, this is what's going on. And we can build trust in time. And we could even go as far as, saying, so, is there a part of the body that doesn't want to be touched? Did you enjoy the sitting position last time? Do you want to do some more of that? And actually have a real conversation, and then structure treatments and slowly leading people towards feeling really safe with this. So yeah, that's kind of another aspect of that. For me, like, for healing, here's what we need in my mind right now. I mean, like, this idea develops on a daily basis, but for me, like, the main, I don't know what to call them, building blocks, maybe that sounds a bit wrong in the context of Thai massage. But here's what I feel like we need in order to heal. And it's always about self-healing, really. Nourishment. And there's so many words to maybe describe this, but for me, nourishment, there is something that this word encompasses. It encompasses self-care, but it also encompasses kind of like a kindness to the self and self-compassion. It also encompasses a kind of doing something that's a treat. And we know that when we treat ourselves, that, we do that, we can, it makes us feel better, right? We kind of treat ourselves. So nourishment, and it's really kind of to allow ourselves that moment of, I just did like that, that deep breath. Yes, that's good. Nourishment, wholeness. So in a way, what does it mean when we're dysregulated? It means that we've sort of broken into smaller pieces. There's some sort of dissociation happening. We've gone out of wholeness, and that's really like what we can facilitate, to bring ourselves and people that we work with back into a state of wholeness. And with Thai massage, I find, that's kind of really a huge aspect of it, because we actually work the whole, not just even the whole body, but the whole being, all aspects and facets of our being. Attunement. So attunement has to do with those rhythms that I was talking about, and being in full expression of expansion, retraction, and motion. Movement, life is movement, and we want to be in resonance with this expression of life that is in every living system, not just human beings, but in the trees and the butterflies and the elephants and the ocean and the moon. All living systems have this expression of life, this vital life force. And when there's dysregulation in our system, then we're kind of falling out of resonance with that. And then we struggle in our environment, we struggle to be in life, and that leads to disease. So bringing ourselves back into resonance, into harmony. Harmony is a great word to describe it, maybe. So attunement, so we've got nourishment, wholeness, attunement. And then also really important, community. I think, we need to heal as a community, but also, like, we as Homo sapiens have survived because we've come together. And that is so greatly broken at the moment. It's crazy. I guess in the sense of Thai massage, I would say, maybe translated also with connection, because it's this beautiful practice where two people actually come together and share the practice. Yes, there's a giver, there's a receiver, but there's also this coming together, community, connection. So yeah, that's why I feel, and I'm not saying Thai massage is the only thing that addresses any of this and all of this, not at all. I just feel like, you know, it's not the only one, but it does address it all. So that's why I feel it really matters, and why it's so powerful, and why I'm so passionate about it. So yeah, let me know what you think. If you have any questions about that, I always love to hear from you. So nice to see you, Manuela. When am I doing a workshop? I didn't know. Well, I know I'm doing some courses in person, hopefully, here in Portugal in October. Can't remember quite the dates of it, but it's a week where we are working with the chakras, and actually it's quite related to all of the things that I was just talking about as well. That's an advanced training. I haven't got any kind of short one-day workshops or anything online or like that planned, but I struggle with doing this online. I know it's possible. We've done it a couple of times, but we'll see. I need to get organized. So hopefully there'll be something coming soon. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Please do have questions, comments, feedback, observations, doubts. Comment. I love to engage and talk about this. I can talk about this forever. It's my favorite subject. Enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you so much for being here, and take care. See you soon. Bye for now.